Okay, so welcome everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rita Bredenbach. I head the Faculty Center for Innovation, Collaboration, and Support. We are hosting these co-ops every Thursday as a space for faculty to come and share what they're learning as we have moved to real online learning, ask questions, and in some weeks we will have particular themes. And this week the theme is Mural. Very happy to have Maya Georgieva here. And Maya, I'm just going to turn it over to you.
All right, everyone. So yes, I'm excited to be here and I'm excited to talk about Mural, which is something that is coming to the new school. It's already exists. Some of you may have used it or may be invited to use it or heard colleagues using it because we have some faculty working with Mural over the past few years, whether in blended or online courses. And now we've realized that the potential for a number of us to use it across the university is greater because we all share some of the activities and we all actually gone to teach online at this point. So I'm excited to share some of the options and features that exist in Mural today. And also I'm going to open it up. So we're going to have a discussion towards the second part of this after I do like a small demonstration and introduce you to the basic features and invite you to follow me. So I'm very excited to be here. We expect the Mural integration to be fully completed by the end of September. So this is just the right time for you to get started thinking. More information, I'll share a link and more information at the end of the session. All right, so what's Mural? So this is me. I also the Director of Education Futures and I lead the Extra Reality Center at the New School. So some of you know me from my work with immersive learning as well. I do want to point out that we have, together with Rita and her team, created the guide, and under the guide we have a number of different sections, incredible content that has been curated and sourced by also a number of different people at the university. And one of the areas is digital tools, and under digital tools we have a number of different whiteboarding, polling, and other solutions. So, and we'll continue to really resource that section. But today we are going to talk about Mural, and Mural is a really collaborative virtual space, a virtual whiteboard. You may even call it a canvas. And what you see is it's basically you can invite people. What you see at the bottom on a very simple level is participants, whether those are students or colleagues. And what you see live is basically how they collaborate. And that's very visual and very immediate. And it's everybody kind of like can witness it. And that is one of the, I think the two main features about a Mural, being able to work together, collaborate, and also see visually see the sort of that manifestation. And it does invoke presence. It is Mural and it is a whiteboard, and it works with some of the other tools we have, just as I'm doing today. I'm using Zoom, and I'm going to jump into Mural in a moment. Similarly, Mural can be linked to things that you do in Canvas. So think about this, that this works in your all sort of ecosystem of how you teach, how you meet, how you present workshops. But this is one of the simplest way of thinking about it. Many of you have engaged in brainstorming, design thinking, using the sticky notes, and being able to physically go on a whiteboard and as a group, as a team, or individually on this particular topics. And that's what Mural facilitates beautifully. Before I jump into basically the Mural itself, I want to flag a couple of high-level ideas, which is like the most common use cases, meaning that this is the starting point, and each of you have unique cases that I'm sure will pop into your head as soon as you see it. But also to get you started thinking about this is obviously it's perfect for project planning and sharing. Whether it's your projects within your team, whether it's a project within the classroom, within student teams, whether it's a project that is going to span for a week or 2 weeks, or it's going to be sort of a very high-stake project which students will work towards for the entire semester. And so it creates actually a visual map of sort of the evolution of that work. One can also use it to just really share presentation and walk people through. And one of the first thing, I'll share something I've worked on, and I use Mural quite well. I think it's been appreciated. And you know what, in my own research work. It's also great for these action packed, quick live session, whether it's voting and you know everybody sharing an image, or it's live note taking where you know perhaps there is a guest speaker or there's a video, and now everybody can be also sharing on Mural as well. So anything that can be done in class can be also done outside of class, right? We already talked so much in the co-op over the summer of these synchronous and asynchronous activities, and really it's kind of thinking through how they build on each other and work together. And of course, we know the design thing is a practice that's, you know, it's something that we do in our courses, in our meetings, across the university, but any level of collaborative thinking can be represented through Mural. And then the other way is to just kind of map concepts around a work and area of studies. I often talk to faculty the idea about novices and experts. We as experts have very well developed frameworks in our heads. We know how a field has evolved. We spent years reading, thinking, writing about this. So it's a very good map that sits in our brain. Novices don't have that. So this is why it's important for them to see in different formats, you know, both through text or through visual formats, and understand how the individual parts work together. And oftentimes this gives them an opportunity to even put the parts together. I like an experience where you can actually jumble all the things and have students put them together in a sequence or in a way that they make sense. Jigsaw, oftentimes it's like jigsaw spaces. And the other thing is that not only can you have a mural that can start projects, brainstorm, but students themselves can have murals and work basically as a team through this, and then you can come and visit them and provide feedback. So these are some of the activities that I think happen in so many of our courses, so many of our practice, and Mural now presents a new space and a much more collaborative, visual, active space to share that. All right, so now I'm actually going to go to Mural and first show you, how it works. Once you log in Mural, you actually kind of faced with a space similar to this one. You have private rooms and open rooms, and this is your workspace. And under these workspaces, you can see I have different murals, and they exist under different rooms. This is my personal room where I kept some information, and I also created the faculty co-op room, which I will go later today, and I have more information there. So, so you can have completely private rooms, and then you can share them with others. When you come to Mural, as you kind of can see on top, you have basically a very simple menu. Your favorite murals, which you can start on right here. And as you continue to work, this definitely will continue to expand. And also if you're particularly working with more faculty, students, settings. And then you have templates. And I'll talk a lot about templates because templates are a great way to start. And actually I'm going to use templates today and modify and see how, demonstrate how quickly it is to do that. So, but the first thing I want to do is actually I'm going to share with you some of my own work, which I've used Mural. And this is a recent project that I completed on immersive learning, on the idea that, human is the future. And it's a project where I've collaborated with a number of different people. And today this project looks very, very orderly, but I assure you it didn't start this way. So, so this will just give me an idea to really show in practice how things work. So first of all, if you can see on top is my project. I have here on the left side a small menu, and I'm going to go through them. You can kind of see very quickly. if I open this menu, I have certain visual, sort of shapes. I have icons, quite a few of them. Then I have frameworks and layouts. And this is where, it's incredibly helpful to use some of those to get you started. You can start with a blank or a template. And as I mentioned in a moment, I will go through that. Then you can have images and even bring entire files. And so what I have here is the outline of this project. And this was a collaborative experience where we looked into different parts of humorous learning. And if you're following me, at the bottom, I have this little square, which, as you can see, gives me an ability as I hold it. If you have a mouse or you have a touchpad, you'll be able to move through this canvas, because murals tend to be big. You can host a number of different student projects on a single mural, or you can have them individually. And just as in this work, this could be any project. You can have different topics presented with different images. And then below there, you can actually see sort of some of the work being done with sticky notes. It all takes for people to actually come here, pick a sticky note, place it. As soon as I place it, you can see there's a text, there's a color. You can, if you want to, I'm going to be consistent here with, I have some sort of overreaching design ideas of how this should work. And this prompts me to say that it's important to walk students through it, how you're going to use it. You can start very freely, really very open. But you can also start in a way that is particularly in a more organized way, which is you can ahead of time set a set of topics, a set of ideas. You can use some of the templates. And here I can, basically click in, select text, and write my comment. Now, I can then, once I'm through, I can make it smaller, bigger. The beauty of this is that not only can I move with the zoom settings at the bottom left here, but I also can expand. And so no problem if these things are a little small. It actually gives me an idea to kind of zoom in particular corner. And here's to say that the way things work in Mural is, for example, you see me here at the bottom, that is me, Maya, and it has a little star. And in a moment when I start sharing with you, you start populating with individual icons and names. And this will, the star will designate who is basically the facilitator of this project. Now, in the overview, before we go to playing ourselves, I want to mention a couple of other things. This can be exported at any time into a PDF and other ways. It also has a built-in chat. So sometimes, as I mentioned, this can work in a number of different ways. It can work also as a collaborative session. And there still could be a back channel, like a quick chat going on. Innate, you can actually provide comments, just as some of the comments here, in this active space. Not only that, the comments will be timed, so you can, come in and look at some of those comments as well. This is already in a very active way. Now I'm going to move and show you a couple of other projects. So for example, just again as an illustration. So these are projects that are done within actually the same mural. Those can be resized in a number of different sizes, and you can see, sort of a number of different cooperation and opportunities sort of take place in these projects. Initially, Mural started really as this design thinking entrepreneurial framework. So a lot of the design, small, like a startup, sort of management, and sort of companies are using this very actively on an industry level. But certainly in the last couple of years, we've also seen it just as design thinking now is a process used across education. We've also seen it come to education, and there are a number of programs that are using Mural as well. So I'm going to go to what is a welcome mural and invite you all to come in. Oh, and this also, this is a mural which I created from a template, which is what I mentioned. It's very easy to work from a template because you can come in here and you can actually come and customize those. You can make it a welcome class. And so just as easy as I did, you can come, customize, move around, change. If you right click on this, you see I have a number of different menus here and options. And there are things that are purely formatting, like just as if you're formatting a number of different images and text together. But there are also things that help you lock things in place. And you can change this. For example, if you are going to create a template for your experience in the classroom, whether it's for students to share, you can come preset things in Mural and then log them. You'll see in a moment that when we all come and we start moving around with our cursors, it's very likely that, we can also start moving things around. So it's very easy for you as a facilitator to actually lock things in place. If you know you're going to run a particular experience, a particular session, and go through a set of questions, you can basically set those ahead of time. And I would advise you to do so. It gives you then the opportunity to really just start facilitating. So, I'm going to talk a little bit of how things work. I showed you in my own interface. As a user, I get a workspace, and my workspace can have multiple rooms, which I can create, and then individual canvases. And that's the idea of individual murals. So just to kind of see it this as of how this works. So now I'm going to share this, and we're going to go through an experience of you, all of us together, actually practicing some of the things we can do in Mural. And majority of those we are going to access through this menu, black menu on the left, which you can even hover over the different options and bring things to the canvas, to the mural. Now, I usually work with my murals, depending on the size, you may have to go with different percentage. But as you can see here on the slider, I kind of keep this one a little bit smaller until I start work. And when I work, I actually expand it so I can focus on a particular part of the mural I'm working on. And so, as you can see here below, there are a number of different options how to use a mural, which all map to this menu on the left. So I'm going to invite you to, as soon as you come in, to pick one of those areas, whether it's a framework or just a sticky note, and come and bring yours and share an idea of how you might be able to use that. So here's how I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to click the share button, and so I can share with you directly to a link. And as you can see, there are a number of different ways you can share a mural. And some of you may even want to embed, if it's a final project, so even that is also available. Now, in this particular way, the best way for me to share with you, since we're on Zoom, is to simply send you a link. Once I pick the visitor link, I also have some permissions here, right? So I can, and you can see if it's something that is more like of a complete work, you can do just view only. If it's something that you've created as an outline for your class, say you actually created your syllabus in Mural, or just the semester, you can do a view only. In this case, I'd like you to actually actively come with me and play with this. So I'm going to leave edit. And I also am going to open it completely open. This will actually be very straightforward and managed once we have our own accounts that are coming in, meaning at the new school. I'm going to simply click here, copy link, done. And now I hope you're getting ready to come with me here. So I'm going to find the chat and drop this link for you. Chat. Yes, now is the time. Put your question in, and I'm going to just review the question as you're coming on board as well. Yes, it's possible to upload a number of different files, including CSV. Yes. So, you know, when you're exporting things from Adobe Illustrator, there are a number of different options. So this will also depend on, you know, exactly the file. Oh, and I'm loving it. And you see here live on Zoom, how you're coming in with, I know they use a number of different funny sort of animals, but, and icons, and those can be customized as well. But I invite you to come under the how to use Mural and add a sticky note or a chart. Just as I mentioned, click on this menu here on the left. Pick whether you want a color or an image. By the way, if you come on the images, and if I just write an apple, you can actually search for images right here. Some of you obviously can just upload an image directly from your computer, and so you can use with a customized set of images. But you can also come and use this very quick search. And sometimes for quick brainstorming and illustration, you can come and do that. And I'm seeing sort of the action, and so are you live here. And that's what needs to happen. And that's you know, how quickly it gets done. So yes, it is a fantastic tool, Michelle. Thank you for this comment. So you can see how quickly things can get busy. And this is why the idea of, you know, thinking about your space and how you might use it. You can start with a blank canvas. Sometimes, you know, maybe that's what you're trying to do. But, you know, using sort of these, having a small session with your students, first demonstrating with some plan in your head, I think it will serve you well, and it will serve them well. People do tend to kind of get lost sometimes. They have invented this on the left, this Zoom setting now where you can move around and gives you a much better view. The percentages you can play with, you know, how small and how expanded you need to look things at a particular moment in time. But this works really well. Yes. In addition to that, as you are practicing some of these options, you see that there is a pen there. And this actually will work with an iOS device. It will work with an iPhone and an iPad. Mural has its own app, which you need to download. And then if you have one of those new iPads or the Apple Pen, you actually can use the pen, and obviously it's much easier to write with a pen than writing with a mouse or a cursor. So, you know, if you have one accessible, I would encourage you to try. I do want to share a couple more things here in terms of there are the best, you know, there are some recommendation, meaning that the best browsers is Google Chrome and Firefox. I know every so often we have sort of old browsers sitting on our laptops. For Mural, for particularly, you know, using its functionality and not experiencing any glitches, stick with Firefox and Google Chrome. It's going to work with Windows 10. You actually have to download, those of you, if you're using, you know, some of the Windows PCs, you actually can go similarly to the Windows app space and get Mural from there. So you can take advantage of all the functionality. So just, you know, as you think and prepare of thinking about Mural. So, I see here some things in action. So in addition to that, I want to point to a couple of facilitators option. So on top here, you see timing. You can actually time things, and this time will be visible for everybody. So we, a majority of us these days are taking advantage of the Zoom rooms. But some of the activity, as students are discussing, may be actually happening on Mural. And you can use that to kind of prompt them. You can start the timer, and a timer will start ticking. Actually, will amend that, and you can add a minute. So you know, if you need additional, if you feel like there are additional times. Also, you can have multiple mirrors open in your browser, just as I do. So sometimes if I have different teams, and I know this work will continue throughout the semester, and so you want them to have their own space to map the evolution of their project, you can have multiple of them open and just come in, join them shortly, look at them, check with them on the chat, and come back and basically kind of move through 5 different murals. Early on in the semester, I tend to think that actually working on the same mural is the most exciting and engaging, and it's really actively like making people go very fast. Okay, so there's that. So in addition to that, on the right-hand side, there are a couple of other options I want to share with you. So for example, you know, as I said, this mural in particular is about, there I go, making sure you see that. I have to move. So in particular here, you see an outline. That is very helpful, in particularly in larger canvases. I can create the outline again ahead of time. I can turn it on or turn it off. It is a roadmap for you know, the class, for the session, for the workshop. It can be set ahead of time, and you can easily see that. So the outline is again one of these facilitation tools, but it's also available to everybody else. Now that we're all together, I'm going to quickly just say hello on the chat, and so you can participate and see how that comes. And in this case, I have my profile set, so my image will appear, and you know, respectively, as you work with a classroom, you know, students will come in and also be here together. Now, as I want to move in and talk about a couple of other facilitators things now that you've spent some time and have some fun here. So as you can see, this little star here is you know, kind of designating me as a moderator. You can make additional people moderators as well, but there are a couple of different options here: summon and follow. And those are particularly fun because when, for example, students develop murals, And sometimes they expand, and especially at the end of the semester. You almost need a moment to do a field trip over the mural. And someone will actually take everybody and follow the cursor of the facilitator for a mural. So it's very useful if the mural has expanded, multiple topics, images, set of questions, that someone feature can be almost as a guided tour of the mural, and somebody can narrate it over it. So I think also another way to think about, oh my gosh, this may expand, and how is this going to work? It's one way to kind of do a guided tour of a mural, if you will. Now, great job. We are a big group, but I want to pause and basically just take some questions, as you now had the opportunity to try. So please unmute yourself, and let's hear if there are any questions, and I'm also going to check the chat.
This is Michelle. I have a quick question. Actually, I'm a little confused about just getting started in terms of getting Mural on my Canvas course for students and getting them accounts.
Right. So we this contract is now in its final stages, and word is that it will be access to Mural will be made available through Canvas by the end of September. I just checked earlier this morning. There is a freely open for educators short version of Mural where you can create at the moment like a trial account. Which will be basically to going directly to the website. You will be, and also let me, I will share before the end of this session, the distributive education has put together a little bit of information about that. But there is a sign up where you can put your information, and you will be prompted as soon as it's actively available through Canvas.
That's great, Maya. But a question: like my students are being asked to use Mural now. They're working on projects now. So how do I get them?
Yeah, they can go through everybody can have up to 5 murals for I think a month. They can actually create them and then transition them. You can copy a mural very easily.
So you're saying that once they start it now and we get it integrated into Canvas as an institution, we can tell them to migrate their work.
So for example, I'm going to go back here to my murals and show you how quickly it is to copy. All right. I know we are in transition, but the interest about this has been so much that we decided to do. So I'm going to just click on the arrow on top of my mural and say duplicate. Once I say duplicate, it will actually ask me where I want. And for example, I have 2 different accounts here because I have my personal account, which is my, under my personal account is where I worked on the immersive learning project, and I also have the new school account. So you can sign in and those with your new school email, and those will actually merge. And then duplicate Mural, I can pick now, which is from my personal space, which this is, I can actually put it under the new school, under the faculty, click duplicate, and it will put it right there. So there are ways to copy on this. As I mentioned, we know there's interest, and this is why we put together the session today. But things are moving. We're, I think, at the final stretch of making this available for everyone at the school.
Okay, thank you.
So, other questions?
Yeah, there's some questions about bandwidth.
So, if you're using it with images and it might take a little moment. There could be a small lag between actually somebody writing and posting, depending on bandwidth. But perceivably, this is not going to be something that you would do within 50 seconds. This usually clears out within, I would say, 15 to 30 seconds. So you can, just be mindful, give people a little bit more time, but there's no really, that's pretty much how it's going to work. Just consider that if somebody's on a slow connection, posting their sticky notes may take them extra seconds.
There was also a request, could you show us how to make an outline view?
Yes, so let me do something here, templates, because I think that you see how, and when you open it for the very first time, by the way, you'll be prompted with how-tos, help files, little mini pop-ups like that. So, it has evolved. This used to be a bare bone whiteboard about 5 years ago when I first started using it. And now it's really grown into an exceptional tool. So templates. So as you can see here, there are a number of different templates that you can start. You may very well want to start with a blank mural, but you can actually start with those. And you can, for example, also look at some of the additional categories that, let's say, icebreakers, right? So there's like various team warm-up exercises. So I can open this mural, right? And now, of course, I have a number of them. And say I want to kind of I'm prepping this for class, right? So this is something that Mural has created. Oftentimes, top of their mind is industry, executives and others. But guess what? You can come in and you can actually create your own mural from the template. So here on sort of towards the left side, you can see, you can check different templates and take them to customize. So create mural from template. Right, where do you want to put it? Again, you can put it in your private room or your public room or in some place you wanna. And I've been putting everything today on the co-op since we're working together here. So here it is. I took over this template. It will be created for me. Now I can retitle it and I'm just going to use a quick team warm-ups. And then I can come here and you see there's a little that unlock, a right click on your mouse or on your pad, unlock all. If you're going to be making a lot of changes and you're working on your own, and it may make sense that you unlock everything. And now it will let you know, and then you can lock things sort of afterwards, or you can unlock one at a time. So either way.
Maya, we're going to lose Janet soon, and she had a question. Could this be used just as a blackboard in a seminar?
Yes, perfect. I think you can just basically reset a set of questions. You can come blank and have students type in questions. You type topics and questions. I would say, as I mentioned, if you are in particularly if you want to use it as a writing board, obviously using some of the an iPad and a pen, a digital pen will help you fast. Type. People are using it just as can come in and create a blank canvas and adapt it to anything they want to do. So I think it's basically looking at it, looking at the functionality. I will ask you to think about is prompts for students to contribute. Really, that's where it kind of really has this component of engaging them. It can be a great visualization tool in terms of just concept visualization if you were walking them through things, but also just as what we did a moment ago, where you all participated. And this is another one where another one of the templates where, for example, everybody can create a quick, sharing about, as we start the semester, we all meet new students and they come from a variety of different backgrounds. So again, people can just come in here, attach their image and write 3 things, and you can determine ahead of time what these 3 things are. Where are you today? And they can post an image of the city they are in. Where would you like to be, or what would you like to do right now? And I recently did manage a student facilitation around this, and the majority of people said, I want to give somebody a hug. And I think we can share that sentiment. So, basically, one, you can start with a completely new canvas, or you can use the templates to adapt them and save some time in terms of, once you have the templates, if you use it, the outline will be there. Otherwise, you actually have to manually enter the outline. Yeah, so
We also had a question, would like to use Mural in an unsophisticated way so that my students can see each other's work. Mural as a wall for pinning up projects. Is the blank mural screen the best way to do that?
Yes. The blank will be, if I go back to dashboard, basically, you can go in here, click on create a mural, blank mural, create mural. That's my canvas. I can do whatever I want with it. I can start with just bringing in some, like text, some around the topic of today's session. It could be all just about design thinking and brainstorming and sharing ideas. As soon as, some people love starting blank, and from experience, I know some people like the templates because you can bring things, you can customize things fairly quickly. There is a mid place where you can start blank and go to frameworks here, and go under some of the frameworks and bring them in. As some of you did, they will come pretty big, but then you can take them, toggle them on the edge, and I will.
Maya, if a faculty member were using this as like a whiteboard, a wall for students to post images or work, how would you know which student's work was which?
So it actually, it can be done in a couple of different ways. Like, you can be very particular about asking them to be identified. One, in addition to, you walked in here with the default, but you were prompted, as you saw, you were prompted to actually enter and change your name into a, to the name you could have, we could all have done that. And so once you actually, there are different ways. Once you enter this in, when you hover over things, you'll see where they're coming from.
I also have a question.
So open, like I know that we all do that. We have times in our session when you want it to be very, open, sort of open to all and not necessarily prescriptive. And there are times when you're looking and you want to give credit, and so you make it a sign. Yes.
So another question, during a mural activity, do you share your screen with your students, or do you just monitor their activities from your own link since everyone is in there?
I think the answer is probably it depends, right? It depends. I would say that if you give them time to work individually, I may make it very small and just monitor the time, and people can see that there's activity there, but I'm not going to zoom in into one particular group. They have, they should feel like free to like collaborate. If it's longer term, if this exercise is going to take 20 minutes, I'm going to probably say I'll go I may even not necessarily, or make it like really small, just to give people the space. I think that will be my answer. Unless it's big, I think it depends on how you design the activity and what you're going for. Some of these quick activities, share where you want to be, warmers, icebreakers, they're fun to be done as people are actually looking at each other, just as we did in some of our project here. But If you, and I've been moving around, so a number of um, a number of things have popped as I've been opening. But if you are going to basically give more time, I would not monitor it. I would ask students to actually do a presentation over their thinking, and that's usually actually a good sort of exercise and keeps everybody very much kind of following through.
Sorry, could you explain again how to, or maybe just explain how to do the summon feature and the outline features,
Yeah,
just so that everyone's on the same page?
Under my, when you go under, cover, when you're the facilitator, and in your own mural, you have the star, which will designate it, and right-clicking on it, you'll see summon. And right now I have nobody here to summon me, to walk with me. But even if you have one other person, the summon will be active, and then you'll be able to summon folks in. In terms of the teams, it will depend a lot on how people are signing in. So if you make this share here and invite them, you can you can actually ask them with a visitor link, but then ask them to put their given name, and this will get a lot easier once we're fully integrated, because students will be accessing it through most likely Canvas or in a dedicated sort of portal for the new school. Now this at the moment is a little bit of a hack, so you would definitely have to basically ask them to use their names in order for you to be able to really see this. In this week, probably thinking about 2 weeks, we're going to have this under the new school umbrella. And or at least that's the morning update I received, and I am sharing this with you.
Sorry, just so one more time for the outline, for how do we add a view on the outline so that everyone's looking at the same thing? And I guess my question, kind of related to that, or maybe it's more of a summon question, is when the summon is active, can people scroll around to other parts of the mural, or are they forced to look at what your screen is looking at?
It's a guided tour. They'll follow you around. They
Okay.
can't, during that period, they will be strictly following you around. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, so everything that comes in Mural as text, and you customize it, it will, after you kind of save, it will, it may take a moment, it will start to appear on the outline. So as you can see here, there are like text box, there's just title, and there is comments. And so as soon as you actually start bringing those areas, as I mentioned, usually towards the end of the session, you start seeing them populate. Any other, so I'm also, I know we have about,
Sorry, I'm sorry, maybe I'm being sick about this, but I don't understand, because on the side you have this outline that bullet points things that people can click. And
yeah, which is already customized in this particular case. In a blank mural, you actually have to basically go in and enter it. But
I'm asking how to do that.
when you put the text, once you start customizing the blank create the blank mural, it usually doesn't happen instantly, I would say. So So as I mentioned, it does take a work session for this to appear. And if it doesn't, I will look into it. It used to be this way, and definitely, if it doesn't happen for you, can I see who asked that question?
It's me, Mael.
All right.
Sorry, I can't turn my camera on right now, but
No,
I am here.
I just want to make sure who I'm writing the email to.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to look into that. I'm going to give it, usually it's at the end of the working session. I know it doesn't happen immediately, but as a facilitator, it usually shows up after I've worked a little bit on Mural, it will recognize it. I will also double check this for you.
Thank you very much.
As those tools, I have to say that over the summer, Mural has made a number of different changes, which actually are all been positive changes. Every so often, things move a little bit like a digital tool, and I would check on that, and we can provide an update. Also, we know who's today. Every so often that happens with digital tools, but I have to say that what you see today is Mural, and in terms of the evolution is pretty robust. Whiteboard, canvas, collaborative virtual space. I think I'm excited that we are going to have it at the new school.
Just put in the chat, because Richard said he hopes that DE will set up one-on-one trainings. The Mural Help Center has tutorials. So it sounds like something that would be worth exploring a little further. If you're really new, I was having a lot of difficulty acclimating to it. It's almost too intuitive. I was overthinking it. So I think really exploring some of their tutorials would be a good supplement to this.
Yeah, and you can reach me at Maya at New School to brainstorm, or even if you want to do like 15 minutes and say, is there a template I can start working on, use as a baseline, or just an activity, brainstorm an activity, whether from icebreaker to any other design thinking exercise. What I'm going to say is that it takes a couple of entries, and I will suggest that you do a couple of murals, just practice, bring in images, organize them, take a blank one, take a templated one. Use it the first time for a very low stake activity, something that is very easy to do just with the sticky notes and images. I also would say that students will fly with this time, 3 times X. They catch it very fast. I know the size of it every so often gets people confused that it is a pretty broad canvas. You can actually resize that, but the beauty is that multiple teams and multiple information can be kind of spread across. It's one of as a whiteboard that is pretty fun to do. So.
Any last questions from people? There were a lot of questions in the chat, and I know we didn't get to all of them.
Is there a file size limit per each mural, and how are files stored, kind of just in case I'll be asking my students to upload art, and I know that that can quickly get very large.
Yes, true. And I would actually recommend that students resize their work for web sharing. Not so much because Mural will not take it, because it's going to take longer and longer to load. So if you're thinking access and accessibility and bandwidth, you might ask them to resize their images to what we share usually kind of on a web format to ensure that it runs smoothly. But if for the final projects, if the goal is to share a very high resolution, once we set up our own space, I think that we will be able to say for sure what our limitations in terms of Mural for education are. So that will be probably shared once these announcements go out. In terms of the iPads, and I'm going to do quite a bit of that in the digital tool workshop that is coming up. I do find it incredibly, this is the iPad pencil. And if you find yourselves that note sort of sharing directly from the iPad of you like natural handwriting, sketching, also being able to use that as feedback and critique. If this is how you feel you're powerful, efficient, it works for you, these tools are pretty getting expensive, but they did release a new one. So hopefully, the Pro is cheaper now and the pen. They do require an investment, but they also facilitate quite a bit that work. That's what my sort of 2 cents are. But if you find that that's your mode and that's how you feel most powerful, it might be worth the investment. They are very, sorry, just dropping here. So Mural has been, they have realized that in the last year, I wouldn't say even starting with COVID, even pre-COVID, a number of institutions looked at Mural as a whiteboarding virtual collaborative space. While most of the templates you see are very industry focused, there are a couple of sort of tutorials and others that point to some educational uses. I would say they're pretty weak because normally this is not teaching and learning, not necessarily. It's not sort of what the company was created. And I've looked at them, and I actually looked in terms of sharing. And to be honest, I found them rather weak. They still defaulted to more perhaps business education or not even design thinking. However, they have very short tutorials on how to, so I think those are very fun. Before you go, I want to do another fun feature, and I should have done a little earlier, but we had, is the feature to actually celebrate. This is particularly fun if you've participated and you had a good, successful session, design thinking session. You can kind of share a little bit with the class, sort of the excitement, and so celebrate is one way to end the session, and I think it's a good way to end this one. Now, as I mentioned, we are definitely going to find different opportunities to share more information about Mural. As I mentioned, you can always reach me at maya@newschool.edu, and I'd be happy to spend some time in brainstorming together, or walking into your Mural, or in just any aspects of the process, and whatever question might pop in your mind following this session.
Thank you, Maya. And this is like overwhelming. So I expect people will be reaching out. Thank you so much, Maya. Thanks everybody for coming, and hope to see you all soon.
Thank you, Rita.